What's up, guys?
Welcome back to the MSW podcast. We are R.U.E. We got
Raquel.
Eliel.
Uche. Welcome to this week's podcast, which will be about children and families.
And babies too.
Babies.
So, our main idea for this podcast is what are the current challenges in successfully raising a child in today's day and age? What biopsychosocial factors are impacting whether or not people choose to have children? And how does our society support or restrict our ability to invest in our children's development? So first, we're going to talk about ourselves.
That's a hard question.
It's about to get vulnerable in here.
What would you like to know?
What is I'll start with my family makeup. I grew up in a very nuclear family. My mom and dad, an older brother who was 7 years older, and a sister who is 5 years older. Not the youngest.
Gang.
Same for me. Nuclear family was my mom, my dad, 2 older sisters, 1 older brother. I'm the youngest. Yeah.
I guess we're all the same and having nuclear families. You said you're the youngest? Okay, I'm also the youngest,
I'm
you
the
know.
youngest. Good thought.
Got my older sister, and then my brother, and then my older sister, and then my older sister, and then there's me.
Got a lot. How many is that?
Not counting me, 4, and the oldest, she's 38, 37.
Okay.
Yeah, we old. We're an old family.
Interesting.
Well, I guess my mom had her when she was 25, I think,
Mhm.
which I feel like is kind of still a thing nowadays, or maybe it's getting younger since my old classmates have like 2 children now.
Oh,
And I'm like,
really?
guys, you're 24, calm down.
How does that make you feel that people our age are starting to have children, our peers?
It's making me look bad because
Honestly.
like now everybody is expecting like, hey, where's your family? Hey, where's your partner? And my mom being Nigerian, that makes me look bad because now she's gonna be expecting that from me. And my dad was like, your grandma got married when she was 19, so
Uche has told us about people that her aunties try to set her up with. So
Oh,
that
really?
push is there. Every time I see
mhm.
my mom, she's like, "Y el novio, where's the boyfriend?" And I'm like, "Girl."
We don't know.
And she's like, "When are you gonna have kids?" And I'm like, "Let's not talk about it. I don't want kids."
Ooh,
In this-
that's
in this day and age.
Raquel.
Let's talk about it.
What affects your decision to not want to have kids?
A lot of it has to do with the way that I grew up. A lot of things that I saw, like with my parents. Trigger warning, domestic violence and stuff. My dad was a very abusive husband to my mom, and to my siblings. So growing up in that kind of environment really didn't make me want kids any more than the next person would. And then also just like, maybe it's selfish of me, but like thinking about like, I don't want to have that power over someone else to impact them in that way. Cause I think about the things that my siblings went through and what I went through. And I'm like, I would never want to have that kind of power over a kid. And I'm like, so I don't want that kind of power over a little kid. You know, they're fresh and they're new and they're so easily influenced.
Mhm.
And I'd be so scared to mess them up. So I'm just like, I'd rather not. I would rather not. For the longest time, I thought about adopting, but then I have to think about it actually. If I am lucky enough to make that kind of money, I would love that. Or foster.
That's a good point. Because I feel like parents forget that what you said, like kids are malleable. Kids. I feel like we underestimate how much children remember stuff from like their childhood and stuff that whatever they do around them, they're gonna witness that. So like also trigger warning when my brother and his girlfriend would be fighting, like in front of like my nieces, in front of like their son and my nephew,
Mm.
like his girlfriend like swinging things at him, trying to punch him. I'm in the middle trying to separate, and I look down, you know, like my nieces are right there watching. I'm like, y'all gotta go. So I feel like we really forget that kids watch this stuff and that affects them,
Yeah.
even if you're not inflicting that pain on them, like they'll still remember that and it'll still impact them as an adult today. So yeah, it's a hot take, but that's completely valid. Completely valid.
No kids for me, but no judgment to those who do want kids.
Okay.
But there is that pressure, you know. They're like, well, you're at that age, you should have kids. And I'm like, well,
I got this going on, you got this going on. Like, yeah.
What are your thoughts? I would like to hear your thoughts.
My thoughts. So I'm the youngest, so I feel like growing up, I didn't feel that much pressure to have kids. But now none of my siblings have had them, and I'm the only one that's in like a long-term relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So now my parents have definitely been pressuring me. Like I can tell they want to be grandparents very, very, very badly. And it's very conflicting because on one end, I do want kids. I really do. But on one end, you're also sacrificing like a lot of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it's a big responsibility. I'm making something or making somebody that's completely dependent on me physically, emotionally.
I can barely take care of myself.
Exactly. So I think it's like very conflicting for me. But I do want kids. I think it will be a worthwhile investment for me. I don't think my life is definitely some challenges, definitely trauma. Like my house was a little bit abusive growing up, but I feel like I didn't live the best life, but I had a good time. So if I can make it like a little bit better, I think it could be worth it. And we got deep so quick.
We did.
So do y'all have any experience with children? Like I know you mentioned you have like nieces and nephews. Like
Yeah,
how active are you in like
I'm very active. Like
She's a mother.
oh really?
literally, like it was what? I was 18, like sophomore year of like being in college, and like my sister, for mental health stuff, she gets pregnant, and then all of that responsibility got thrown on me. That like, you know, my oldest niece, she started calling me mom, and then I had to like correct and be like, no, I'm auntie. And it was traumatizing. It was traumatizing because that was a lot of pressure, and it didn't help culturally with my dad, where he's not gonna change the diapers, he's not gonna, you know, feed her, he's not gonna do this and that and a third. Like if you would act, like I feel like I remember asking him to help, and he like side stanked me because it's like I don't know, I culturally for a man it's like you're not
job.
Yeah, it's like a woman's job. Like you're not gonna ask me to take care of this child. Like and I feel like it's also maybe here as well, like the Western traditional sense, you know, the woman does everything. And so that was a lot of pressure. But they're still the gang. I just bought them slime, and they were fighting over it via FaceTime. So I kind of regretted it. But yeah, that's my experience.
Because you have brothers. You just mentioned brothers too.
Yeah, I just have one.
Just one.
Yeah.
Just one brother.
We have backstory on this.
It's kind of like a gender division of what they expect of you to
Mhm.
achieve it to the
Yeah, because even with him, it's like he's told me to shut up and watch my son so I can do this, and that. And I'm like, dang, I guess I gotta shut up and watch this child. Like, so yeah, it's just ick. Very ick. But they're good.
A
The kids are
lot
great.
of gender role like expectations.
Yeah.
This is not, I don't know if this is relevant, we can cut this out. But my dad would not even once, but like on multiple occasions, he's just like, oh my God, dude, this is why I never want to have kids. He was like, can you serve me a plate of food? And I was like, please. And he's like, he didn't say anything. And then I got him his food because I don't know why. And then I put it down in front of him, and he's like, I shouldn't have to tell you please or thank you. I should just tell you do this, and you're like, yes, dad, and then just do it. And I was like,
Literally moved.
that's crazy.
The way my jaw dropped when you stood up for yourself and said, "Can you say please?" I was like, "Oh, that's a bad move," because I know how that feels when you have to give them the food. Like my dad was, yeah.
He literally,
Yeah.
like at public parties,
That's
literally
crazy.
when all of my sisters are around, my brother could be right next to him, and then my dad's gonna like point at one of my sisters and be like, food, meaning like, get me food.
Or just say
Like just food.
Mm.
He said that one time. He'll say it in Spanish, he'll be like, comida. And he just expects you to bring a plate of food. And I'm like, dog, don't. But you know, it's like, it's the gender thing, and it's also like, I don't know, just because I'm your kid, it's just a lot. I don't know. But there's a lot of things. Let's not unpack that right now.
We gotta break the generational trauma. We need to break the generational curses.
Exactly, which is why I don't want to have kids.
My family was pretty similar. Like for holidays, we'd all gather around and pray, and then like the boys would go play in the other room, and all the
women
girls,
would help
they would go
in the
like help serve
kitchen.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think when we got to like our like teenage years, I thought it was a little weird, so I started helping out more. But like I definitely would take advantage sometimes. Like, well, I don't want to get food today. But so I'm assuming that's not something you want to continue like in the future.
What?
Like if with your
The gender roles
Yeah,
and
the
like
gender roles.
expectations. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I feel like we're in a new day and age where everybody should take
Times are
part.
changing.
Yeah, times are changing. Everybody should take part in, raising kids, interacting with kids, clean up dinner, give me dinner. Like everybody should take
Know how to
part in that.
cook,
Know how to cook. The
clean.
bear. I'm not gonna say the bear.
We can talk about gender roles then. Let's get there.
That is important in society.
First, I do want to ask though. I know you mentioned like, do you feel like your experience because you had to at a young age kind of had to support your nieces and nephews? Has that affected your desire to want to
Have kids?
I thought that too.
Yeah, I'm
a
very.
little bit.
Yeah, I'm very off and on about it, where I'm like, oh, that'd be cool to have like a mini me. But then off because also household was abusive, that when I reprimand like my nieces, it's like I see it was mainly like my mentally ill sister causing a lot of stuff. And then like my parents, to this day, I don't know if what I saw was like actual child abuse in like Western culture or just this is normal. But then when I see like myself like scolding my nieces, I see like my sister's face. And then I'm like, oh no. And then sometimes I feel like my parents when I scold them too. And I'm like, oh no. So I have that fear of traumatizing them because I was traumatized. So then I don't really want to have my own kids because I don't want to do that all over again. They're enough. They are my kids. This is enough. So, yeah, no.
I feel that. I feel like in a way I'm trying to break that generational trauma. Like for one, not having kids, and also unfortunately, I feel like my nephew is going through the same thing that myself and my siblings did. Like my sister has a lot of unresolved trauma from my parents and stuff. And she always tells herself, like, I don't want to be like my mom, I don't want to be like my dad. That's all I'm gonna say. And the best that I can do is be with my nephew when I can and like tell him all the good things that I wish someone would tell me when I was going through those things. Like, I feel like mainly what I see is a lot of verbal stuff, like just telling him mean things, like, why are you doing that? And like, bad word, bad word. So whenever I have the chance to hang out with him, just like me and him one-on-one, I'll tell him like, you're a good kid. Like, I know you're a good kid. You're smart. Whenever he wants to hang out with me and my sister, he's like, he's very hesitant about like asking for stuff. we're like, do you want to go eat? And he's like, no, I don't want you guys to spend your money on me. Or he'll randomly be like, sorry, I'm annoying. And it's like, no, like no, we love spending time with you. And if we spend money on you, it's because we want to, and you're our nephew, you know. And I feel like it's because he thinks all these things because he hears it from his parents. I'm sure they tell him like, when you go over, don't be annoying. When you go over, don't have them be spending so much money on you and stuff like that. But I try to kind of heal that kind of mindset, or at least show him a different kind of perspective when he comes to us. I'm like, no, I'm like, it's okay. But
Do you have other nephews and nieces?
yeah, I have so that nephew, he's 11, and then I have from the same sister 2 more nephews. One of them is 1 or 2, and the other one is like 7 months maybe. And then I have a niece for my brother who's in Missouri, and a nephew. Mm-hmm. A lot of little nieces and nephews. So why do we need more?
That's true.
I don't need to have one.
I think that kind of goes into like one of the categories I put was like a nuclear family versus like.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
Hold on.
You're like checking.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Is it recording? Okay, it is recording.
Yes.
I clicked to turn up the volume.
Okay.
So I don't know if it did. Sorry.
No worries, no worries. Like the difference between like, so in America, like Western cultures, it's very like nuclear family, very individualistic. Like your family unit is mom, dad, maybe a son and a daughter and a dog. And like that's it.
The American dream.
Yeah, the American dream.
The white picket fence.
Like for Black and brown people, that usually looks a little different. Like for me growing up, like I had my mom and my dad, but my nana babysat me. My aunts and uncles took care of me. Like the line between like parent and like uncle or aunt was very blurred. So like
it's very collective.
Exactly. And it seems like what you're saying, like you are like active in like the care of your nephews and nieces, and you're active in like your nephew. Like how does that feel? Like does that feel like okay, does that feel like your kid? Or does that still feel like this is
Sometimes it does. Sometimes I even think about, this is something I talked to my sister about recently. I'm like, sometimes, y'all, I know we're managing reporters, but it's not like that, I swear. Sometimes I even think about like adopting my nephew, like really seriously considering adopting my nephew, because sometimes I just get the feeling that my sister, you know, could, I don't know. But yeah, I do sometimes feel like, I don't know if I would say mother, but I feel more than an aunt. But I don't know if I would say mom, because that's a lot. That's a big responsibility. That's a big word, big title. I don't know if I've earned that, but yeah.
I keep thinking that, yeah, from what you said, like children are malleable. I keep thinking about that. That's why I feel like everybody should go to therapy at one point in their lives. Because it's like
mandated.
Yes,
Parents.
like, and that too,
Yeah.
for your parents and for the children, because again, like depending on how like you process what happened in your childhood, as well as with your parents, depending on how that went, that can still affect you as an adult. So from what I'm hearing, like from what you guys went through and how with your sister, it's like you have that fear of
Like
re-traumatizing, because your sister is still affected from what happened in your childhood. Because again, children see everything. Children remember everything. Children are innocent. We didn't ask to be born to be brought here.
Yeah.
So it only makes sense as we navigate this world to like treat them with respect and be mindful of them, because we are their generation. And if you like, I don't know.
How do you think that would look like policy-wise in like do you think there could be a policy that helps
That's a big
policy?
It's a great
That's
big
a
word.
very interesting word.
to, I guess, limit or heal generational trauma? Like would maybe publicly sponsored therapy for new parents be, think that'll be beneficial?
I think it goes more into like the kind of approaches that we do when it comes to therapy. Like we're all saying like, oh my God, it should be mandated for everyone to have therapy, right? I think it's important to be culturally informed. Like of course, about Hispanic, Latino communities, Black African American families, and like Asian communities. We all have different backgrounds, cultures, like different values. So I think coming at, therapy, doing therapy from that kind of lens, a culturally informed lens, is very necessary. I think that's policy or keyword ding ding ding.
Have y'all been to therapy? Have y'all experienced therapy before? Do you feel like the therapy?
Have you not?
I have.
Okay.
But my therapist, like I chose a Black woman to be my therapist. Do you feel like your therapist, like is that available? Do you feel like they're culturally informed?
I mean, mine, he was a Black dude. I feel like, I don't know. Well, I don't know. Like when I explained like my situation and stuff and navigating my family, he seemed very like understanding of it. I don't remember if he asked like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like he did his job. He did he did his job. I don't know.
I feel like my first ever therapist was like through my insurance. I'm pretty sure she was Hispanic. I liked her a lot. She was really cool. I feel like she was very understanding. But then the next two therapists I had was not with my insurance. It was with an online mental health thing. I'm not gonna name drop. But they were both white. And I just feel like there was a little bit of a disconnect for me. I feel like a lot of the times I was speaking about stuff like cultural, maybe like values or traditional stuff, and they're kind of just like, like that's it. And I'm like, you don't get
Talking
it.
to a wall.
Like you don't get it. Yeah.
Mhm.
You don't know what it's like because you've never lived in that kind of, upbringing or community or culture, So I think it's definitely important to have social workers or therapists who are culturally informed. Yeah. Thoughts?
I agree. Because I feel like a lot of like it's gonna sound weird, but I feel like generational trauma is like very cultural. Like I feel like it's hard to explain. Like, let's say like I have a child and I'm trying to keep them from being involved in like I'm trying to inform them on what it's like to be like how to deal with police and how to maneuver around law enforcement. Like I feel like trying to explain that to a white therapist would be very difficult for them to understand. Like the reasons why that would be traumatizing for a little Black boy or a little Black girl. So how do you feel like policy wise, do you encourage services to be culturally informed? Like, do you give maybe like a wider array of choices for people? Like, oh, there's this many therapists under your insurance network. Pick one that's like the culture.
Maybe hiring more
Or just
therapists of color.
mandating like cultural sensitivity trainings. Or just like, how a lot of companies have like monthly trainings, as annoying as they are. I think even just a reminder of like, hey, this is what we should be doing. If you haven't been, you should. Here's what we need to be doing, like culturally informed, culturally sensitive, or what is it? Practicing cultural humility.
Cultural humility. That's a word.
Another keyword. Ding, ding, ding.
I feel like this connects to like having culturally informed therapy. Also, when it comes to like children, it's like prenatal, postnatal care. like one thing that stands out to me is I feel like a lot of Black and brown women are in danger when it comes to like giving birth or giving children because like of the cultural disconnect between the doctors. And me personally, I hate doctors.
Yeah,
I hate them a lot.
I think there's a lot of distrust
Yeah.
between like Black and brown families or communities with doctors or like the medical community in general. My mom's always like, "Oh no, if I go to the doctor, I'm not even gonna leave. I'm gonna die, basically." Because there's so much like distrust in the medical system. Yeah.
A lot of historical factors too.
And also, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that was it.
I also felt like from my I'll give one example. Like, remember I had a knee injury in high school. Like my knees would always hurt. I would go to the doctor and like talk to them like, oh, my knee hurts. And they would kind of like convince me that oh, it was no big deal not to get it checked out.
Damn.
And I feel like a part of the reason they were able to do that is because like my parents weren't able to like they didn't know how to advocate for me.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's one thing if it's like a knee. But I do think like
if it were anything else too.
Yeah, like let's say like my partner is pregnant, like how can I advocate?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we can talk about.
Dang, it's been a while, right?
It has been a while.
That's it.
Also, I love that.
Did we reach our main point?
We have some more points to talk about. We'll wrap it up.
She's trying to go prepare for Lobby and do homework.
This is gonna be the end of the R.U.E podcast.
Oh, I thought we were gonna talk about one more thing.
Oh, we are gonna talk about one more thing. Baby mama drama. Baby mama drama. I've heard this on TikTok and the interweb about there's been a baby mama epidemic. Now I feel like that's a little racist.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like it's kind of assuming that only like one model of family is like valid and any other model is kind of like stigmatized. But also like there are like economic consequences to like a single parent household is less income and less support for the child. It's like, how do we balance that? How do y'all feel about baby mama drama?
I feel like I can't speak on it because I'm not a mother.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like from the drama that I've been seeing these days are just like the celebrities, like the NBA players getting these models pregnant and then they turn into baby mamas and then they're like trying to get child support. I don't know. It's the vibe from what I've been seeing so far. The vibe is just like these mothers are purposely getting pregnant to get money off of these so athletes. I don't know. I did watch a video of this one celebrity where she was jumping up and down, very happy, screaming that she's very happy to be divorced. And then she's like, wait, what about that child support? Come to find out, like the husband's like, I'm not paying for that. And so then she breaks down crying, being like, so now I have to handle the financial burden all on my own. I'm like, girl, like, you know how much money you have? Like, I don't know.
It does bring up a lot of points about like, I guess like in our society, because getting pregnant and having a child, that's a big investment. Like you could die, risky for your health. You now have a responsibility for the rest of your life.
Hospital bills.
Like, I guess like I find it's a signifier of a bigger issue if like this is like, if women are desperate enough in order to provide for themselves and like take care of themselves, take care of their child, into like, I guess, trapping a celebrity. Like, why is that? You feel like policy wise, like, why is that necessary? You feel like women have the means, like in our society, to take care of a child without doing that?
Trapping the husband?
Yeah.
I'm confused. What's the question?
I guess you feel like our society equips people to take care of our children. Like if I want, like, let's say right now, somebody wanted to have a baby, what are like the barriers to that? Like what would be like the cons to it?
There's a shortage of formula.
Shortage of formula?
There is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
Formula is very expensive. Like a tiny little thing like this is like what, $50, 40 something, and they last like a week or so.
I actually read something. We can fact check this in the references. That the company Nestle, like the ones that they make baby formula, they lobbied against increased maternal leave protections for women.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like, okay, because if women have more maternal leave, there'll probably be less need for formula.
That's true. Because they could just breastfeed. It depends too. Some
Some
mothers,
mothers need
some
it,
mothers
though.
can't breastfeed for a lot of reasons. Some
Mhm.
mothers just don't want to, and that's okay too.
Mhm.
Yeah. Formula's expensive, y'all. Don't have kids. Unless you want to.
Yes, you want to. But should there be policies to reduce the costs of formula and diapers? Because like, what are we doing? You know, why is formula so expensive? Babies need it like if they're
Shouldn't it be
babies.
for free. Yeah.
Free formula.
Because then where would that be coming from?
I guess like, when would it ever be like a waste to feed babies?
Yeah.
I'll pay for
That's
it.
true. Well, I mean, if our society wants the birth rate to go up,
Isn't it?
that's maybe something they could consider, providing free formula.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
This is something I thought recently.
Because we're not having as many babies, right?
What if
Not
that's
that I
on
know.
purpose though? Like what if if we drive up the cost of living to this high, we make it necessary to get a higher education, and then we make formula this much, childcare this much, and education this much. Like how do you think that, how much do you think that like lowers the amount of people willing to have children? Do you think that's intentional at all?
Intentional, like people are not having kids.
Like the higher authorities, the shadow government.
They're somehow manipulating for us to not want kids? Or what do you mean?
Yeah.
Conspiracy theory.
I'm so confused.
If you're okay, let's say you're king of the United States,
Oh,
President Uche, and you.
to the stocks. Sorry.
I'm gonna give you two scenarios. Let's say in one scenario, you want people to have more babies. What policies would you pass
Oh,
if you want people to have more babies?
if I want people to have more babies,
What policies would you do?
I feel like I would
Free
the hospital, the
childcare.
yeah,
Free
free
childcare?
that up. How come other countries theirs are free, but then ours is like 20,000 plus?
Like a
just to give
longer
birth?
paid maternity leave.
That too.
Other countries got long maternity leaves. We get like what, 2 weeks?
Expand.
A month?
Like,
Less?
I think it's 12 weeks, and I don't think it's guaranteed.
I said 2 weeks.
I think like our
But it's very little compared to like other places.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think also, I don't know if it's Medicaid or Medicare.
Medicaid.
Medicaid. Expand that in terms of like the postpartum. Because I think there's only a few, some states that have expanded it to like a year for postpartum,
Mhm.
but I feel like mandate it to just be the full year to try and combat, maternal disparities, mortality.
So you would expand healthcare, free healthcare, expand Medicaid,
Services,
Medicaid
more
services,
access to services like childcare services.
more access to childcare services, increase maternity leave.
And I would probably do what South Korea is doing, where
What are they
they'll pay you to be pregnant.
So
And
you'll
They pay you a
incentivize-
certain
I will
sum to have a
incentivize
baby.
peoples to please
Okay.
fulfill this country's population.
Okay.
Mhm.
And now what if you didn't want people to have babies? Then what would you do?
If
What
I
pol-
didn't,
Yeah, then what policies would you enforce?
that would get flipped then. I'm not gonna give you money.
Isn't that a problem in China?
Really?
Don't the family households have like a limit of like
Of one?
child per household?
I think they
And then
did
if you
that.
have more, you need to pay a fine or something like that. I could be wrong.
So you put
Halfway
like
to
a
the
financial, instead of a financial incentive, it'd be a financial like cost.
Like a punishment.
Yeah, financial
Okay.
punishment to
Mhm.
having children.
Mhm.
You would.
But then that creates a lot of problems too, because then
Yeah.
more women are it's a lot of things like women could be having abortions and then are abortions gonna be legal at this time? So back alley abortions, a lot of women might be dying a little bit more because, well, we don't know if abortions are gonna be legal or not in like the next couple of years. It's not right now, but. Yeah. What were we talking about before this?
Like if you like what would you do to discourage people from having?
Oh, yeah.
You would, like shrink maternity leave, not provide free healthcare, probably restrict Medicaid,
No incentives.
no
No
incentives,
incentives.
or like a cost even.
Or a cost, yeah, if you have more kids, cost.
Okay.
But that's a
Drive
lot
up
of-
the cost of living.
So which one of those do you feel like our government's doing?
None.
Either neutral, like they want us to have children.
I mean, I think they're doing the best that they can to support the families,
Of America.
but we could always be doing better. We can always be doing better.
We can.
How? That's a great question.
For next week's episode.
For next week's episode
Next week's episode.
of the R.U.E podcast, Eliel
Uche.
Raquel.
signing out. You're welcome.